Well, how about that Austrian national anthem? That thing at the beginning, that was pretty epic and all. Oh, this is recording. Oh, okay. Hello. Yeah. The Austrian Grand Prix happened today, and Max Verstappen once again won. It's his fifth straight race that he's won. What's the record? I think Vettel set the record back in 2013, 9 straight wins. We could be looking at that record. I mean, we still got a good chunk of races to go before that record is going to be like in real danger. But it's very possible. We got the British Grand Prix next week, but let's talk about the Austrian Grand Prix this week. Max Verstappen picked up his 5th win at this track, 4th Austrian Grand Prix win. The other one, I think, was the Styrian Grand Prix. Back during the COVID days, they did 2 races at Austria. But Max Verstappen, his 5th win in a row, his 7th of the season, I think, 6th or 7th of the season. What a season it's been for him. It's looking like it's going to be another world championship. And he had a 25-second lead, 23, 24, 25, somewhere in there, coming to 2 to go. And he decided, you know what, let's pit for softs and go for the fastest lap. So much could go wrong. He could speed on the pit lane. They could have a bad pit stop, mechanical failure. But no, he went out and demolished the fastest lap, and he got full points on this weekend. He won the sprint, he won the race, and he got the fastest lap. So he once again extends his championship lead. Sergio Perez, the other Red Bull driver, came back from 15th to finish on the podium to end that funk he's been in, to say the least. So podium for him, good for him. And then Charles Leclerc, a good drive for him. He ends up finishing 2nd. And his teammate Carlos Sainz helped him out there a bit. Sainz was able to hold up Perez just a bit in those last 15 laps or so. He held him up for 3 or 4 laps, and that was kind of helped leave a bigger gap to Leclerc. And that helped also in terms of wearing Perez's tires out and all that stuff. So very good job by Sainz all day, honestly. But I know his whole intention wasn't hold him up for Leclerc. He was actually fighting for position. But, that did end up helping his teammate. A few good battles throughout the field, it felt like, throughout the day. We saw Sainz and Norris fighting. We saw Norris and Hamilton fighting. Just really throughout the field, just a lot going on with the different strategies, the 2-stop versus 1-stop. Some teams, I think, even did 3 stops. So saw a lot of guys in and out in terms of where they were going throughout the field, which was kind of interesting. Fun to see. And then we saw only one DNF. It was Hulkenberg. He had a mechanical failure after his first pit stop. But other than that, it was a decent race, actually. Not too bad. Let's look at the results of it. Max Verstappen wins again. He now is ahead of Ayrton Senna in the all-time wins list. Last week or 2 weeks ago at Canada, he tied him. Now he's ahead. So next up on the list, I think, is Prost. Prost, I think, next, then Vettel. So will Verstappen get there before the end of the season? Honestly, he might. He wins a lot, and I think they said he's won like 21 of the last 28 races, and they said Kimi Räikkönen's career total wins was 21. Now, obviously, different circumstances. They mentioned that as well. Very random fact that they mentioned. Now I'm mentioning it, so I guess I'm equally guilty. But very different situations, but still kind of interesting. Charles Leclerc finishes 2nd. A good result for him. Started 2nd, was really close to pole. But a 2nd place finish, really good for him. I think his 2nd podium of the season. Ferrari, it's been an up and down year for them. It's been an up and down year for Leclerc himself. Crashing at Australia. I think he's had some mechanical issues like at Bahrain. And it's just been a very up and down season. So to see him get 2nd place on speed, that's promising for him. That's promising for Ferrari. They tried their best to Ferrari it. They asked him if he wanted to do a 3-stopper, and they didn't pit him under the virtual safety car initially and waited a whole lap to pit him. They tried their hardest to Ferrari him, but no. Leclerc finished 2nd. Sergio Perez 3rd. As I said, he has been in a funk the last few races, and it seems like he's starting to get out of it. Qualified 2nd in the sprint, fought Verstappen for the lead for a lap, and finished 2nd in the sprint. And then here today, he finishes 3rd, and the race goes from 15th to 3rd. Another podium for Perez. He extends his gap in 2nd for the driver standings over Fernando Alonso. So good result for him. Good result for Red Bull in terms of constructor standings. A double podium at Red Bull's home race. Carlos Sainz finishes 4th. really good day for him. A good points day for Ferrari in their fight for second in the Constructors. And Sainz was actually seemed quicker than Leclerc there at the beginning of the race. Was right on his tail, had DRS, but Ferrari said don't fight. But he did a really good job there. And then, as I said, holding up Perez, fighting Perez. That was a really fun battle to watch between Perez and Sainz those few laps. Just kind of playing a little bit of DRS chicken. And then also just, some really good racing. It was fun to watch. So, good result for Sainz. Lando Norris 5th. Those McLaren upgrades are looking good. Lando Norris was top 7 at worst all weekend long, top 5 for the majority of the weekend. He finishes 5th. If those upgrades keep on getting better, we could see Lando Norris fighting for some podiums. So we'll see what they can do in the long term. 6th place, Fernando Alonso. Not the greatest weekend for Aston Martin compared to what we have seen earlier in the season, but a good haul of points for Alonso. I think Stroll got a point as well. I think they lost a point or two today, but they did gain a couple of points yesterday. So I think they did do a little bit of damage to Mercedes' 2nd place in the Constructors. Speaking of Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton finished 7th, George Russell 8th. A good amount of points for them. Not the greatest race for them. Hamilton was complaining about the car all day long, complaining about track limits. He complained a lot today. And Toto Wolff literally had to come on the radio and say, all right, we get it. The car's bad. Can you please just drive? Like, Lewis, we know the car, it sucks right now. It sucks today. We'll get on it. So Hamilton was struggling a lot today, but he still gets a points finish. Russell gets a points finish as well. Pierre Gasly finishes 9th, a couple of points for Alpine. 10th place, Lance Stroll, he gets a single point. And then the non-points finishers, Albon in 11th, Ocon in 12th, Logan Sargent in 13th. That might be his best race of his career so far. Really good race for him. 14th, Zhou Guanyu. 15th, Nick DeVries. Him and Kevin Magnussen almost crashed again. That is the new rivalry in F1. It is more of a rivalry, the biggest rivalry, or a bigger rivalry that I should say, than Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. All time. Nick DeVries versus Kevin Magnussen. This one's going to go down in the history books. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Valtteri Bottas, 16th. Oscar Piastri, 17th. Yuki Tsunoda, 18th, was in a first lap incident, lost his front wing. 19th, Kevin Magnussen. 20th, Nico Hulkenberg, as I said, did not finish, had a mechanical failure after his first pit stop. But that was the Austrian Grand Prix for you. 71 laps. Verstappen did not lead every lap. He had a 249 lap lead streak, whatever you want to call it. He had led 249 consecutive laps. That sounds better. And he had that streak snapped. He pitted, had a different pit stop strategy than Ferrari. So Leclerc got the lead a few laps there. But on a serious note, Verstappen wins again. He's dominating this season just like he did last season. And it's looking like a third world title for Verstappen. On to the British Grand Prix next week. We'll see how that race goes. We'll see if the win streak for Red Bull ends. I doubt it. But we will see. We will see, as I said. So should be a good race next week. Remember how good that race was last year. The battle between Perez, Hamilton, and Leclerc. Sainz getting his first win. Really exciting race last year. So I'm looking forward to it next week. But thanks you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We got the Chicago Street Race for NASCAR, the first ever street race in NASCAR history. As I said, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, rest of your night, rest of your morning, wherever you may be.